America is not a serious country anymore, right? We have so many unserious people, and most importantly, so many unserious men. America has really turned into a clown show. This is all a clown show from the top to the bottom, right? You have the current administration full of clowns, full of unserious people, full of people who are in it for themselves. And then let's take it down the line. You have people who are not willing to stand up against those powers. And then the cherry on top of that, before we go down the list, is these people are a bunch of monsters. These people are a bunch of monsters. They doing the diddler with kids. I mean, eating people. I don't know what's going on. This is a clown show. And specifically a shit show. And then let's take it down the line. You have the working class, or should I say the working poor, because there's no middle point anymore. These people are so brainwashed. You people are so brainwashed. You think that billionaires have your best interest at mind. I mean, how programmed do you have to be? I mean, make it make sense. You really think these people, right, with all this money, you really think that they have your best interest at mind? You think that they want to ensure that your family is good? No, they need working slaves, which they are getting at. They are getting at by the day. They are getting at as the year goes on. I keep telling y'all, as the year goes on, as we come out of 2026, you're going to see how big of a gap it is between the haves and the have-nots. But the have-nots, they seem to not care. They don't care if they're getting bamboozled. You fools don't care if you're getting bamboozled by the cuckasauruses, right? The cuckservatives. You don't care if you're getting bamboozled by the libtards. All of y'all are getting bamboozled. Because guess what? They're all playing the same exact game. Right? They playing the same exact game, just a different strategy. But Americans don't care. Americans only want to feel good and to be on top of another group of Americans, right? That's all they care about. I had this one Mexican dude, right? He had the nerve to tell me, because I stay in the DFW area, right? This Mexican, I work with him, but this dude told me, he was like, yeah, all the Indians are taking over. I had to put a finger in my ear. I didn't hear what I had heard. He said, yo, we need to get rid of all these Indians. They're taking over, buying up all the property. They're buying up the land. They're taking over. They're taking over the whole Dallas. Have you been to Frisco? They're all through there. They're taking over. This is coming from a Mexican. I'm like, this ninja, is he crazy? Is he crazy or is he insane? I was like, bro. And he didn't even call them Indians. He called them hijabs. He called them hijabis, which, is not as hard as like the hard ER, but it's essentially the hard ER for Indians, essentially. He said the hijabis are taking over. And I'm like, bruh. I looked at him, I was like, you mean the same ish that the white racist say about you? Mexicanos? And he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I agree. Let's get rid of the Mexicans and let's get rid of the Indians. I was like, Jesus Christ. I told Broski, I was like, bro, don't come around me. I told him like this. I said, bro, don't come around me talking about no hijabis, bro. I said, don't come around me with that. Listen, one thing about me, as much as I talk ish about everybody, don't come around me with no racist stuff about anybody. Right? That's one thing about me. That is a super character flaw in a person. It represents the lowest form of vibration, racism. That's the lowest form of thought. That is the lowest form of consciousness. It is a disgusting consciousness to have. Don't come around me with no racist stuff. I've checked black people on racist stuff, saying racist stuff around me about whites, like extremely racist stuff. Don't come around me. I'm gonna check everybody about that. I don't play that. You can take that around your other Mexican folks. You can take that around them white folks that Mexicans so love to lick the boot of, ninja, right? You can take that over there. But don't bring that mess around me. And that's crazy coming from a Mexican in Texas, of all places, ninja. Ninja, they trying to get rid of you. He talking about something. Yeah, I agree. I'm like, yeah, this gotta be the sunken place. This can't be serious. You got immigrants against other immigrants, right? You got poor whites against everybody else. You got poor whites against the elite whites. Elite whites against I mean, bro, this country is not serious. This country can't be serious. And quite frankly, never will be. Right? Because I keep telling y'all, this is not, you can see the edge of that waterfall down there. You can see where we're headed. And where we're headed, is a cliff. There is no steering a boat around. Because there is no saving the majority of these people who so-called call themselves Americans. Even the goddamn immigrants. There ain't no saving nobody. Everybody's bamboozled. Everybody's brainwashed. Everybody's experiencing some kind of cognitive dissonance. I mean, what's going on here? What's really going on here? Men think that Punani just supposed to fall in their lap. Men don't want to work for nothing anymore. They want to exile themselves out of society, right? They want to be incels. I'm starting to think that the majority of dudes out here are just fruitcakes. That's really what I'm starting to realize or feel like what's going on. I think a lot of guys out here are just fruitcakes, right? And like they best friends. I mean, what in the world has America turned into? This is a clown show. A clown show. And then on top of that, you have the leaders of the so-called supremacist, white supremacist movements. They're all DEI hires. Bro, if we don't stay in a backward society, if that don't tell you we stay in a backward society, I don't know what does. The leaders of the white supremacist movement, the new gen white supremacist movement, is a bunch of minorities. Yeah, we're effed. We're effed as a country. And there is no coming back. I mean, everything is upside down, right? Men are essentially the new women. They have no they have no backbone. Testosterones are just depleted. Men don't work out in mass. Men don't eat healthy in mass. But you want to be leaders of society? We're letting the incels, the weirdos, they don't have the mic. Why do the weirdos have the mic? We have PDF files who have the mic. We have fake conservatives who have the mic. You have conservatives, if you didn't know what I mean. I call them conservatives because most of them are cucks. Why do I call them cucks? Because most of them are living a lie. Dayton Daniels, Mr. Ecclesiastical Andrew Wilson, and many, many more. Pearl, right? I mean, the list goes on. Your Nick Fuentes or Nick Fruitcake. I mean, the list goes on. These people are frauds. Yes, the liberals don't they ain't no better, but at least I know the libtard, at least he living his truth, god dang it. At least he living his rainbow truth. But you conservatives are leading the country into abyss because they're a bunch of fake fraudsters, wannabes, not living the life that they portray to be. Right? But trying to tell everybody else, oh, you should do this and you should do that when they're wifing up 304s. right? They got side chicks on the side, which, I mean, if you're a man, you're a grown man, and you know how it gets down out here in these streets, it ain't no surprise to you, but it's just the fact that people are out here trying to portray themselves as something that they're not. And then the audiences just eat it up. Yeah, this is a bread and circus shit. Right? We're an unserious country with a bunch of unserious men, unserious women. Right? It's easier to tell a lie and have people believe it than to tell the truth. Right? We now live in a world where you get praised for lies. You get a standing ovation for lies. You get a standing ovation for lacking character. You get a standing ovation for being a raggedy ass ninja. You get a standing ovation, a round of applause for being a loser. You get a round of applause for standing up for losers. You get a round of applause for making loser talking points. But the ones who want to be a winner, right, they get ridiculed. What? The ambitious get ridiculed? The ones who want more out of life, more life, right? They get ridiculed. They get talked about. They get cast aside, right? We live in a society, the rise of the losers. Listen to what's going on. These guys are rising up, taking a mic. They don't like women. They hate women, in fact. Right? They all cozied up to the bros. And they're making illogical points, trying to bring back pieces and bits of history that are quite frankly never coming back regardless of what they try to do. I mean, how can we move forward as a society with such lackluster men, with such a lackluster population? And I'll answer that, like I always do. The majority just got to get left behind. It is what it is. They can't come. The majority just they're going to get swept up into modern day or futuristic slavery. That's what's just going to happen, because people are too caught up in their own selves. They're too caught up in stupidity, too caught up in illogical programming. People believe stuff before they question it. I think that is the dumbest thing that a human being can do. Out of all the living beings on this earth, you are granted the ability to think on such a higher level, right? How in the world, how, Sway? How do you just take in, and never question? MAGA-tards, MAGA retards? Everything that Trump says, everything that he says is the truth. Trump is a god. He can't do any wrong. He can't do any wrong at all. Let y'all tell it. And this is where we failed as a society. We raised a bunch of weak ass men because the former generation was weak. And then that former generation, they got theirs, so they didn't really care. And they still don't care because the system is only rewarding the boomers, or the top 10% of boomers at least. But much of the boomers still got some of theirs. They got to live a life in society where they weren't pressured as much. They can buy a house for $2, buy a dang on burger for 2 cents, buy a car, matter of fact, 2 cars for $10, ninja, right? House is paid off. They got to live that life. So they got theirs. And they taught their generation, they taught their children's and their children's children to do the same thing that they did, without realizing that society is now a shit show. right? And now we're left with picking up the pieces, not even picking up the pieces, hell, just essentially buying a new table. We got to buy a new table because it ain't no picking up the pieces. The pieces are long gone. They're gone in the wind. They're in a dumpster, thrown away. We got to buy a new table. And that's why I say you should come over to the Escape Blueprint over there on Patreon, where I'm forging the minds of men and women, right? Into the mind that you need to survive in a new world. You also get to see me live, build the systems that it take for me to become a sovereign man, both financially and globally, right? This is where you want to be. You want to become a sovereign man and you want to become a sovereign woman, okay? Because now is now or never, right? America is coming to an end financially. There is no more money to be made. It is now time to move on and become a global person. It is now time to become a global nomad. This is where it becomes make it or break it. So come over to the family. We're now pushing on 40, 50 plus members over there on the Patreon. We're just getting bigger and bigger, and this is just only the beginning. So you want to get in before the prices go up, because I don't give a damn. I will leave y'all ass behind too. All right, so come over to the Patreon, sign up for the family. Come over there. I have hundreds of videos over there. We're now in phase 2, which is alignment. We're in phase 2, which is alignment. We just came out of phase 1, which is awareness, and I'm still dropping videos on phase 1, but we're now in phase 2, and you get to also see all of hundreds of other videos and live streams that I took down off of YouTube, and you get to see what forged the after pill mindset. Come over to the Patreon and join the family. The after pill is the ideology. The escape blueprint is the framework. And PFP life is how you should live. Purpose, freedom, and power. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I built a life. I built a family. I worked my hands raw to get here. And I'm not done. This is the escape blueprint. PFP life. A way out of the grind and into control. You'll learn how I stack cash, build systems, and reclaim time so you can live on your own terms. You will watch me maneuver and grind towards the life that I achieve for myself, and you can also do the same. Join the circle, join the Patreon, learn the steps, and protect your freedom. The Escape Blueprint, PFP Life.